It's my journey, it's your journey. You need my help and I need yours. 'Cause we are
Our Lady of Częstochowa and Battle of Vienna. In every age of the Church, there have been moments when the hand of Providence shines unmistakably through history, moments when the faith of a nation is tested, and the intercession of Our Lady leads the faithful through the storm. The story of Our Lady of Częstochowa and the Battle of Vienna is one of those rare intersections where faith, devotion, and the destiny of a people converge. It's not just a tale for historians, but a living testimony of courage, Marian fidelity, and the unstoppable power of prayer. For Catholics longing to walk more closely with Christ, who seek the guidance of holy men and women and wish to place themselves under the mantle of Mary, this history is not just past. It reverberates through our own lives. At Journeys of Faith, Love and Amp, Mercy Publications, we have witnessed time and again, when Catholics immerse themselves in such powerful stories of intercession, hope surges and hearts find new strength to remain faithful amid trial. This article invites you into the story. Through the storm-laden siege at Vienna, through the candlelit chapels of Częstochowa, and through the hearts of the faithful who turn to Mary, Mother of God, as a beacon in Europe's darkest hour. Let us be encouraged by their unwavering trust and find inspiration for our own journey of faith, knowing that Mary's care is ever present and that heroic fidelity is never out of reach for those who cling to Christ and His Mother. In the dim, anxious candlelight of the 17th century, Europe found itself on the edge, a continent threatened by the advancing Ottoman Empire. The year was 1683, and the city of Vienna was under siege, its future, and that of Christendom itself, hanging by a thread. Yet, against this backdrop of impending ruin, a singular hope flickered: the intercession of Our Lady of Częstochowa. For centuries, the Black Madonna of Częstochowa had been venerated by the Polish faithful, her image thought to possess miraculous powers. Polish King Janusaj Sobieski, a man of deep devotion, knelt before her icon at Jasna Góra monastery, before leading his army on a fateful mission to relieve Vienna. The king and his soldiers consecrated themselves to Mary, asking for her motherly protection and victory in the face of overwhelming odds. When the Polish hussars crested the Kahlenberg Hills, on September 12, the tide of history shifted. By nightfall, the Ottoman forces were broken, the unbreakable city saved. Sobieski would later write, "Venimus, vidimus, Deus visit." We came, we saw, God conquered. Offering full glory to God and His Blessed Mother, Our Lady of Częstochowa, whose image had gone before him like a heavenly banner. Through this moment, Catholics in Poland and across Europe saw the loving hand of Mary Most Holy, always ready to defend, always guiding her children to Christ, even through the tumultuous storms of history. The story of Częstochowa and Vienna isn't just a tale of swords and strategy, but a living testament. When God's people rally under Mary's mantle, miracles unfold, and faith is renewed even in the world's darkest hours. The Black Madonna of Jasna Góra. For countless pilgrims, the journey to Jasna Góra is much more than a physical trek. It's a heart-to-heart encounter with Our Lady in one of her most mysterious and beloved images, the Black Madonna. Nestled within the fortified sanctuary in Częstochowa, Poland, this miraculous icon draws believers who seek comfort, healing, and strength for life's battles, just as Polish kings and humble villagers have for centuries. The origins of the Black Madonna are wrapped in legend. Some believe the icon was painted by St. Luke himself on a tabletop from the Holy Family's home in Nazareth, a sacred brushstroke of history carried through storms, wars, and centuries of devotion. Over time, her darkened features came to symbolize not only the trials endured by the faithful, but Our Lady's tender embrace of all peoples, nations, and wounds. The scars on her cheek, whispered to have been inflicted during a 15th century robbery attempt, remain untouched by every restoration. They are a silent testament. Mary suffers with her children but remains triumphant. In moments when Poland faced deep peril, most famously at the siege of Jasna Góra during the Swedish invasion, the Black Madonna was a rallying focus for defenders. With rosaries in hand, soldiers and peasants alike believed that their Queen of Heaven was standing beside them, turning the tide through her maternal intercession. Today, the faithful gaze upon the icon not just as a piece of religious art, but as a living invitation to trust Mary's care. Under her watchful eyes, generations have discovered that victory is possible not through human might, but through faith, prayer, and a steadfast love rooted in Christ. The Black Madonna story is, above all, a call to journey deeper, to persevere, and to remember that, in every struggle, Our Lady walks beside us, the sacred icon and its traditional origins. To the faithful of Poland and Catholics around the world, the image of Our Lady of Częstochowa, a poignant depiction of the Blessed Virgin Mary and the Christ child, stands as a beloved sign of spiritual heritage and unwavering hope. The icon's origins are veiled in legend and devotion, its story braided together with tales of miraculous protections, heroic defense, and the mysterious movement of grace through Christian history. Tradition holds that St. Luke, the evangelist himself, painted the original icon on a cedar tabletop, once belonging to the Holy Family. Passed down through the centuries, the sacred image was said to have traveled from Jerusalem to Constantinople, and, through the hands of rulers and saints, finally found its home at Jasna Góra monastery in Częstochowa, Poland. This sanctuary would become a beacon for pilgrims, especially during times of turmoil, anchoring the Polish nation under the loving gaze of their queen and mother. But what endears the icon even more to the hearts of the faithful are the visible scars that grace Mary's face, slashes made during a fierce attack by pagan invaders in the 15th century. Attempts to repair these wounds were unsuccessful, becoming a silent testimony to Our Lady's solidarity with her suffering children. In the depths of distress, whether from invading armies or personal trials, these scars transformed the icon into an emblem of divine strength through suffering and a powerful source of consolation, renewal, and national unity. The spiritual resonance of the Black Madonna's image grew with each generation. Her presence at Jasna Góra became inseparable from the story of Catholic Poland, especially during moments like the Battle of Vienna, where the faithful invoked Mary's intercession with trust and gratitude. From candlelit chapels to battlefield banners, the image inspired courage, sacrifice, and, above all, a steadfast clinging to Christ through Mary, a tradition lovingly handed down, sustaining faith in the hearts of countless believers through the ages. Why Our Lady of Częstochowa is Queen of Poland. Step into any Polish home, and you're likely to find the striking image of the Black Madonna, a face bearing gentle scars, painted on wood, shimmering beneath candlelight. The reverence for Our Lady of Częstochowa goes deeper than mere tradition. She is woven into the heart of Poland's spiritual identity, known with affection and awe as the Queen of Poland. This veneration traces its roots to centuries of adversity and miraculous protection. In 1655, Poland faced what seemed like certain ruin during the Swedish invasion, known as the Deluge. The Swedes swept mercilessly across the land, yet their march staggered at one particular place, the monastery at Jasna Góra, where the icon of Our Lady of Częstochowa resides. Against overwhelming odds, a handful of monks and soldiers held the fortress. Catholic records and Polish legend recall that Mary's invisible mantle shielded her children, Cannonballs fell harmless. The enemy's resolve crumbled. The nation credited its survival to her loving intercession. It was in gratitude for this miraculous deliverance that King John Casimir officially declared the Blessed Virgin the Queen and Patroness of Poland, imploring her to defend and guide the Polish people. Her queenship isn't just a title, it's a living trust. Throughout Poland's history, through partitions, war, persecution, and loss, generations have gathered before her icon to weep, to hope, and to ask for strength. The faithful believe that her maternal gaze never turns away from those in need. In moments of national trial and personal hardship, Poles pray, "Mary, Queen of Poland, I am with you, I remember you, I watch." So, when Catholics speak of Our Lady of Częstochowa as Poland's queen, they aren't describing some distant sovereign. She is a mother who walks with her children through darkness and into hope, her battered but radiant image shining as a perpetual sign of faithfulness and victory by Christ's grace. Her story isn't only Poland's, but every soul who seeks and finds consolation in Mary's unfailing love. Europe under threat, the Siege of Vienna in 1683. The city of Vienna in 1683 stood as the trembling heart of Christian Europe, its walls besieged, its people anxious, and its faith fiercely clung to, as hope seemed to dwindle with every rising sun. Ottoman armies, disciplined and vast, encircled the city under the standard of the Crescent, their ambition clear: to breach Vienna's defenses and open the gates to the heart of Christendom itself. Inside Vienna, fear walked the ramparts alongside the soldiers and townsfolk. Supplies grew thin, rumors abounded of betrayal, of miraculous visions, and of a coming relief. All eyes and prayers turned upward, both to the Almighty and the saints, especially invoking Our Lady for her intercession in this darkest of hours. The Black Madonna of Częstochowa, so dear to the Polish people and all of Central Europe, became a rallying icon even from afar. A sign that heaven still watched and intervened. Desperation bred unity. Princes, paupers, monks, and mothers found their common bond upon their knees. Candles flickered before images of Mary. Rosaries slipped through calloused fingers as defenders poured out their hearts in petition. The cause was not merely survival, but the defense of the faith, the preservation of centuries of Christian civilization, culture, and worship. As weeks wore on, the clamor of battle mixed with the fervor of prayers. Vienna's defenders, worn but unbroken, clung to the sure knowledge that God's providence did not waver, even as the enemy's cannons thundered at the gate. In this crucible, the faith of a people, tested, purified, and shining, prepared for a deliverance that would be remembered not merely in the annals of history, but in the living memory of the Church herself, King John Sobieski, and the defense of Christendom. Amid the darkening clouds over Europe in 1683, as the Ottoman Empire's massive armies pressed against the gates of Vienna, it seemed as though Christendom itself teetered on the brink. The fate of Catholic Europe hung in the balance, yet in this dire hour a figure emerged from Poland, bearing a faith forged by trial and a heart consecrated to Our Lady, King John Sobieski. Sobieski's arrival at Vienna was not merely a matter of military strategy. It was a response, steeped in prayer and trust in Mary's intercession. Known for his devotion to Our Lady of Częstochowa, the Black Madonna Sobieski did not go to battle alone. Before leading the combined Catholic forces into the fray, he knelt before a copy of the miraculous icon, seeking Our Lady's guidance and protection for his army and the Christian world. With conviction, he entrusted not only his troops but all of Europe to her maternal care. On September 12, 1683, the feast of the Holy Name of Mary, Sobieski and his hussars surged down the Kahlenberg Heights. Witnesses recount that his men stormed into the clash, with Mary's name on their lips, carrying banners emblazoned with Marian emblems. Their courage was not born solely of training or arms, but from an unwavering faith that heaven was fighting at their side. The fierce Polish cavalry charge shattered Ottoman lines and broke the siege, earning Sobieski the grateful praise of a continent and the blessing of Pope Innocent She. The incredible victory at Vienna became a testimony not only to military might, but to the living power of devotion, intercessory prayer, and trust in Mary's maternal care for all her children. In the heart of the battle, surrounded by chaos and peril, King Sobieski's fidelity to Mary encouraged and emboldened countless souls. His triumphant cry, "Venemus, vitimus, Deus vicit," "We came, we saw, God conquered," echoed far beyond the battlefield, serving as a rallying call for generations to follow. Trust in the Mother of God, and do not lose hope, even when the night seems darkest. Sobieski's pilgrimage to Our Lady of Częstochowa. Before the echoes of cannon fire thundered across the plains of Vienna, King John Sobieski made a journey of the heart, a pilgrimage woven with faith, humility, and a fervent trust in Our Lady's intercession. The mists of history have not dimmed the power of this moment. A king, burdened by the fate of Christendom, setting aside his royal dignity to kneel in the hallowed sanctuary of Jasna, Góra, home to the beloved icon of Our Lady of Częstochowa. Sobieski's pilgrimage was not a mere ceremonial gesture. It was a genuine act of devotion, born of a centuries-old Polish tradition that looked to Mary, the Black Madonna, as both queen and protectress. Reports from priests and courtiers recall how Sobieski prayed for wisdom and courage, entrusting his armies and the salvation of Europe to the Mother of God. He sought not only divine favor, but the grace to act as her instrument, a knight in her service. The king's time before the miraculous image was marked by silence and intensity. Candles flickered in the shadows as Sobieski, weary from travel, bowed his head and whispered the ancient prayers long loved by his people. Some say he wept, all agree he offered his sword to Mary, promising to defend faith and country under her mantle. For Sobieski, this pilgrimage to Częstochowa transformed the coming battle into a sacred task. The Black Madonna was no distant relic. She was a living sign of God's providence and mercy. Secure in her maternal care, Sobieski would later ride toward Vienna, uttering the words that would resound through history. "I came, I saw, God conquered." Today, pilgrims retrace Sobieski's steps not only to honor a storied king, but to renew their own confidence in Our Lady's help. His journey becomes a mirror for every soul faced with daunting odds. Seek Mary, trust in her Son, and move forward in faith. The Polish army entrusted to the Blessed Virgin Mary. In the bitter chill of September 1683, as tens of thousands of Ottoman soldiers surrounded Vienna, the world stood witness to a moment weighed with both fear and hope. Even emperor, generals, and city dwellers knew human effort alone would not suffice. It was in this crucible of desperation that the Christian alliance, led by King John Sobieski of Poland, publicly placed their fate in the hands of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Sobieski, a devout Catholic and knight of unwavering Marian devotion, had long honored the beloved icon of Our Lady of Częstochowa. Before departing on the arduous journey to relieve besieged Vienna, Sobieski and his soldiers knelt before the image at Jasna Góra monastery, entrusting their mission and very lives to Mary's intercession. With confidence born of faith, the king implored the Queen of Heaven to guide and protect his outnumbered forces. It is said that the Polish banners carried into battle bore the image of Our Lady. Soldiers prayed the rosary, invoked Mary's help, and sang hymns dedicated to her, even as they marched into the fray. This choice was not mere piety, but a declaration that true victory springs not from steel alone, but from steadfast trust in God through his mother. On the night before the decisive battle, Sobieski attended Mass and received Holy Communion, offering everything, his army, strategy, and soul, into Mary's hands. That sunrise on September 12th dawned with a spirit of renewed hope. The king's faith was infectious. Generals and infantry alike clung to their scapulars and rosaries, assured that they were not alone on the field. As the Polish hussars charged the enemy lines, the cry, "Jesus and Mary," filled the air. Many chroniclers and soldiers testified that the turn of the battle felt miraculous, as if Our Lady herself shielded her devoted children. The victory at Vienna was a turning point for Christendom, remembered for the courage and devotion of those who fought, but above all, for the faith that moved a nation to entrust their cause to Our Lady. Their story still echoes in the prayers of countless faithful who, in all their own battles, looked to Mary for guidance and unfailing maternal care. Prayer, the Mass, and spiritual preparation for battle. On the eve of the Battle of Vienna, the city trembled under the shadow of a mighty Ottoman force. Yet before swords were drawn or trumpets sounded, a different kind of warfare had already begun. The spiritual battle waged through prayer, devotion, and the Holy Mass. The Christian defenders, led by King John C. Sobieski, found their courage not merely in military might, but in the conviction that God and Our Lady fought beside them. Churches across the city filled with fervent supplication. Clergy and laity alike stormed heaven with the rosary, invoking the intercession of Our Lady of Częstochowa, a beloved and venerated icon for Polish Catholics, and all who sought hope in her maternal protection. The air was thick with prayer, uniting noble knights and humble peasants alike in a tapestry of faith. The pounding of drums was matched only by the murmured litanies and hymns sung late into the night. At the heart of this spiritual preparation stood the Holy Mass. Accounts tell of weary soldiers attending the Eucharist, some for the last time, placing their fears and hopes before the altar. It was in the real presence of Jesus that they drew fortitude and peace. In those sacred moments, Our Lady's promise to intercede for her children became a living reality. The faithful believed she would plead before her Son for their cause. Many carried brown scapulars, miraculous medals, and other sacramentals into battle, reminders of heaven's nearness. The Mass, confession, and the Rosary, these were their armor against despair and terror. This was no mere tradition, but a life-giving force. The conviction that through Mary, the Church militant on earth and the prayers of the saints above, victory was possible, not for their own glory, but for the triumph of faith and Christendom. Even now, this witness calls us to prepare our hearts each day for spiritual battles, large and small. As we remember the heroes of Vienna, we are reminded that prayer and the sacraments are never secondary to the fight. They are the very means by which faith is made strong and hope is kept alive.
It's your journey, but we won't make the trip alone, 'cause we know God will lead us home.